Hey, 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 folks. What do you all say? Uh, Man, I got the sun going down over the West Mountains there and shining in my eyes, but this is kind of an important step. I've gotten a couple of private messages from people who are building WRs right now that have kind of asked me to break things down into detail. I was just going to kind of show how to put in bearings and how to do a few basic steps, but I've decided to kind of do a little bit more detail. So for those of you that are bored to tears, you just want to see the finished product, come back in a while. But for those of you that want to see each individual part, I'm going to go ahead and just break it down into the nitty-gritty so that those people who are interested in building their WRs and reproducing what we're doing here will have something they can go back to reference. So we did all the last time. We did the main bearings, the transmission bearings, and the counter shaft, the counterweight shaft bearing. The next thing is I wanted to talk about the shift shaft bearings. Now they're right in the bottom of the motor, and it's really important that you do this correctly because this bearing is only designed to go in one way. If you try to do it the other way, you could potentially break your case or destroy your new bearing. So we've got here the right half of the case, and over here is the left half. What I want to show you, it might be really difficult to see, but the shift shaft is towards the back of the motor. If you remember, the shaft comes out and then you've got your lever that goes forward that you click down and click up to change your gears. Well, there's this little hole right here in the very back. Hope you can see this. Right here. You know what I'm going to do? Hang tight for me, folks. I got to get this lens out where I can see it. And it might be difficult to see, but right here in the very back corner, got to get the lighting just right. Right there in that back corner, that hole right there is where this little bearing right here goes. It's a roller bearing. It's got a solid outer surface, roller on the inside, and inside this hole there's a shelf, and it's on the inside of the case. Now you guys won't be able to see this, I'm sorry, but there's that same hole, but on the inside of the case there's a shelf. You cannot drive the bearing in from the inside of the motor out. Okay? You have to drive it from the outside of the motor in. So if you look at your cylinder base gasket area, that's where the right half of the cylinder is going to go. So you know that this is the outside of the engine, and you have to drive it from the outside in and bump this up against that stop. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Now on the other half, if we look at the left half of the case, here's the cylinder base. Here's the inside of the engine and the outside of the engine. It has the same thing. It's got a lip. You can't see it from the inside, of course, but it's got a lip right here on the inside where you cannot drive the bearing, or you should not try to drive the bearing from the inside of the engine out. If you flip it over, this will look a little more familiar. This is where that shaft comes out, okay, that you attach your lever to shift your gears. The shift lever, and it's got a big open hole where the seal goes in, and then inside of that, even deeper, is the surface that this bearing goes up into. And then deep to that, there's actually a shelf. So you have to drive this from the outside of the engine in, okay? So you guys see me do other bearings. I'm going to turn the camera off for a second. I'm going to pop these babies in and show you what it looks like, okay? Okay, it might be kind of hard to see. Get up here in the light a little bit. So this one is down tight. This is the inside. It's up against that little flashing there. Other side is in. You can see it's a little recessed. Maybe you can see, maybe you can't. Sorry if you can't, but it's recessed down from the case. It's not flush against the case. It's down against the stop. So there you go. There's your shift shaft bearing install. There's two of them. And good luck when you're swapping those bearings out. Now, there is an alternative. If your bike doesn't have a lot of miles on it and you just don't want to monkey with it, you can spray carburetor cleaner or brake cleaner in there and keep, spinning it with your fingers and spray more and more in there until it gets completely clean. And if it gets pretty smooth and you're okay with that, lube it up and keep it in there, that's fine. We had to take all those out to do the powder coating because you get grit and grimy in there and the heat and everything else. We didn't want to take any risks. So anyway, there you go. Good luck on your bikes, folks.